And welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am the host of today's show, Michael Buttnasty Buchheister, and my co-host, my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, Billy. It's always cold in El Paso, Hatten. Billy, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. It ain't cold today. It was a little chilly this morning. I can't even lie, but no, it's starting to warm up out here. It's definitely starting to become springtime, and it's heating up for sure.
It is springtime in the middle of winter when it's like 4 and
Yes.
5 degrees everywhere else in America.
Yes.
Congratulations, Billy. Welcome to this amazing heat wave that you are having
Yes.
over there.
I'm still wearing shorts, man.
There
Shorts
you go.
and short sleeve shirt
Perfect. Wouldn't have it any other way, man.
for sure.
All right.
So
Go ahead.
we gonna hop into today's topic. We got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're gonna start off with the NFC Championship game, Saints, Rams. Take recap. What was your overall thoughts, Rams Saints?
So my overall thoughts were this game was a roller coaster game. It started out first quarter, it was 13-0, and like I'm sitting there looking at my wife. I'm like, how could I pick the Rams to win this game? And then the second quarter hit, and the Rams scored 10 unanswered points. And then I look over at my wife. I'm like, okay, now we have a game, and like then the actual game started to happen. It was a very exciting second half. My biggest takeaway from the game was, where was Todd Gurley all game? I believe he had -2 or -3 yards in the first half. He just finished with just 10 yards on the ground, and over half of those yards came on one carry, which was his longest for like 6 yards. Yes, he did have a touchdown, but that running game for the Rams was pretty much non-existent all day, and like I truly don't think the Rams will have a shot against the AFC opponent if they keep this up, because like Hatten, just like what you and me said on Friday, we do not want Jared Goff to win us the game. We want him to manage the game and then let the running game win us the game. And when you're only getting 77 total yards on the ground, and 17% of that is coming from your core quarterback, I mean, something is happening there. So the biggest takeaway is, where's the running game for the Rams? What happened to that game?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they had the play action pass working. That's the one thing that Sean McVay loves. Him and Jared Goff, they love the play action passing. Like every other play or every pass play was a play action pass. And I don't know how it was honestly working, being the running game really didn't work. Yeah. It's odd, honestly. You know, Todd Gurley 10 yards, CJ Anderson 44 yards. So you had 44 yards from your two running backs that just had 239 or 238 the week prior, against a better run defense in the Cowboys, who had only allowed 3 100-yard rushers all season.
Yeah.
And they come back this game and lay an egg. So, you know, the biggest thing for me was how is it that the Rams won this game? Jared Goff didn't necessarily have a great game himself either. You know, he only had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 25 of 40. He had a decent day. Alvin Kamara did exactly what I thought he would do. 11 catches for 96 yards. Drew Brees had a good day. I don't really, or 2 touchdowns, 1 interception day. I don't know how the Rams pulled this out, but to pull a game out like that when really nobody really on your team really played great or even played well, that I guess that has to say something about that team as a whole, to be able to pull that game off on the road in that tough environment.
Yeah, and if you really sit back and you actually, if you turn off the sound, 2 of the game, and you aren't listening to Joe Buck's great voice there, being very sarcastic there.
That's normally what I do.
Very
I turn the
very
sound
sarcastic. Joe Buck is a Kansas City hater, and I will ever hate Joe Buck for that World Series call. But regardless, you can tell that the Rams were a very flusher team. That first quarter, even halfway through the second quarter, they were a very flusher team. And it is kind of like as soon as the fans started to lose steam, started to get a little quiet, it's like it almost seemed like the Saints were starting to lose steam, starting to lose like a little headway. So by that reaction, watching that game, it showed me that the Saints were playing on pure emotion. And if this game was played at anywhere else even on a neutral site, the Rams would have probably blown the Saints out.
Well, I've been saying this now for about 3 or 4 weeks, probably maybe a little bit longer. And that's what happened to the Saints offense. And this is what scared me, honestly. This is the reason why I went back and forth on picking this game, and I didn't know which team I wanted to pick because, one, I didn't know which Rams team was going to show up. And I said that. I didn't know which running game we were going to get. And we got the bad running game from the Rams. And then I said, well, the Saints offense has been pretty poor, and they should have lost last week to the Philadelphia Eagles. They were driving when he missed that when Alshon Jeffrey dropped the ball. And I said it. They cannot do this against the Rams because that won't help them. And their offense really didn't show up again yesterday. They scored 13 points in the first quarter, and over the next 3 quarters, they scored 10 points. That's not going to get it done. That's not championship football. You know, when you are the number 1 scoring offense in the league, and then all of a sudden you're not, or the number 2 scoring. Where were they at? Were they at the Saints was at I believe they were the number 2 scoring team in the league because wasn't the Chiefs the number 1 scoring team in the league?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, when your offense don't come to play and you are constantly, you know, trying to scratch and claw just to win games when you have a dynamic offense as you do with Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and Kamara and Ingram, you should be scoring way more points than this. And it seemed like since they lost to the Dallas Cowboys, that offense have not been the same. And they struggled, and I think that's what kind of bit them yesterday. 13 points, 1 quarter, 10 points over the next 3. That's not going to get it done. It didn't get it done.
Well, and then that is a segue into our next question here, Hatten. Did the Rams win this game, or did the Saints lose this game?
I think ultimately, the refs took this from them. You know, the Saints didn't do what was necessary to win the game points wise, but let's make no mistake about it. That non-PI call was I don't know what the referees were looking at, and the fact that they actually huddled up and talked about this and they still got it wrong. I'm lost for words. One, he didn't get his head turned around, which in this day and age, I don't agree with it. But in this day and age, that is automatic PI when you don't turn around and look for the football. 2, he hit him before the ball got there. While the ball was in the air, that should have been that's rules for pass interference. And 3, it looked like he hit him in his head, helmet contact. And none of the referees thought that to call either one of those penalties with 1:45 left on the clock, the Saints would have been able to run the clock out, kick the field goal, and win the game. They're in the Super Bowl here. Now we're talking about legacies being lost here. And then all I get from the league is a call saying, hey, yeah, we messed that up. Well, of course you messed it up. What are you going to do about it? You know, now we got to sit with knowing, well, yeah, they blew that call and we don't get the chance to play for the Super Bowl.
So I hear everything you are saying, and for that reason, I think the Saints lost the game. When you are up 13-0 in the first quarter, teams are 12-2 with a 13-point lead in conference championship games. And then you come back and lose to the Rams where they're like, I think at one point their offense had like negative 4 yards. Their offense was horrible. They shouldn't have been out there on the field like at all. I mean, the Saints held the game on the ground to 7 yards total, and then like a lot of that came in the fourth quarter like as well. And you cannot pin everything on like one missed call. How about those face mask calls that were not called against the Saints? How about those holding calls? And just to allude to your pass interference call there, to me, yes, he did hit him a little early. From
Mike,
the
that
angle,
was a PI.
No.
Mike, it was a PI.
Just from the angle that like you see, yes, it looks blatantly obvious. But if you maybe swing that angle back around, that ball looks way over his head. It looks very uncatchable.
Mike, Mike. No, Mike. It doesn't matter which angle you swing it from. Put like this. Even if you don't call the pass interference, which you have to, because that ball was catchable. Now, Roby Coleman could have caught that ball himself.
He didn't even try
around and played the football.
He didn't even try to catch the ball.
So that means the pass was catchable if the DB who was right there with the receiver had a chance to catch the ball. So the pass was catchable. Not to mention, one, it was face guarding, which they do not allow in the NFL. So that should have been pass interference just off of face guarding, not even just the hit.
It wasn't face guarding. He was playing in a position.
He never turned around to play the ball. That's face guarding.
He didn't have to turn around. He
do have to turn around.
No, because he was coming from a safety spot, coming down to the sideline, running at the receiver. How are you face guarding when you're going in for it?
Face guard means you never turn around to look to play the ball, which he never did. I've seen many safeties do that, Mike, and they turn around and look for the ball. That was clear. That was a clear pass interference. The NFL said it. Nakobe Coleman said it. Everybody, Dean Blandino, Mike Pereira, everybody on the telecast, anybody with eyes can see that one of the three should have been called.
You know why one of the three was not called is because that receiver, I didn't know who it was at the time. He didn't even throw his arms up attempting to make a catch.
He couldn't, Mike.
He couldn't.
He got hit before the ball even got there.
Because it was already over his head.
No, it was not.
He
got hit before the ball even got to him. You can tell because even the DB, when he made the hit, how many, and you're a defensive guy, Mike.
Right.
You tell me you make a hit like that, what's the first thing you're doing?
Celebrating.
Tell me why he didn't celebrate. Tell me why his first reaction was to look around for the refs to see if they was going to make him. He didn't celebrate at all. I see DBs or defensive guys celebrate after guys get 30-yard bombs because they made a big hit. Tell me why after he made that hit, his very first instinct, his action was, let me look around to see if they're going to call that.
His very first instinct was to look around because we're in an offensive-driven league.
No, because he knows it.
If you look at
after the
wrong,
game,
you're going to
he said it after the game. Now I agree with that, and I'm normally against. Dang, why has it got to be so many calls towards the defense, Mike? But listen, this ain't one of them, Mike. This is not one of them. This guy clearly knew he did it. After the game, they asked him about it. He said, "Yeah, it was a PI. I smacked the out of him." He said this out of his mouth. He knows that it was a penalty, Mike. He hit the guy before the ball even got to the receiver. Before the ball even got there, he was already making contact with the receiver. Not just pushing the receiver. No, he hit him. Helmet to helmet should have also been called. Why wasn't that called? That's a disgrace, Mike. Listen, and missed calls happen all the time. We get that. I'm normally on the other side of things saying, listen, well, what about this call? What about this call? But, Mike, let's make no mistake about it. That call was a direct impact. They made that call, which was supposed to be made. The face mask on Brandon Cooks Was he going to score on the drive previous?
Probably
He
not.
wasn't.
No.
He wasn't. This was first and goal. Now, we seen missed kicks all year long, so the kick was not guaranteed neither. But that was first and goal, Mike. That would have been first and goal, and they could have been able to run the timeout. This directly impacted the result of the game. And now, instead of talking about two 40-year-old quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, sitting here today on every single network, on every single anybody that talks sports, we're sitting here talking about the blatant blown missed call.
Well, just before we segue into the next question here, we shouldn't have two 40-year-old quarterbacks in the game. Anyways, it should be two 23-year-olds.
If they're the best.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I agree with everything that like you just said, and I was playing the other side about the fence strictly just to prove my point that the Saints should have never been in that situation. There, they should have put the nail in the coffin when they had a chance in the early in the second quarter. And what I believe it was fourth and 6. And the Rams had it on their own 30, and they go for that fake punt.
Yes.
Like, that play should have never happened. They should have locked that down. So the only reason why I was playing the other side of the fence was to get you fired up. Mr. Hatten, that is payback from last week a little bit here. But the Saints should have never have been in that situation in the first place.
I agree with that.
They should have had the game locked up in the second quarter.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. I'm just that you just can't miss a call like that in that spot, and there has to be something to do with that. But we're gonna switch gears, move over to the AFC Championship game. Patriots at Chiefs. General thoughts.
General thoughts are, you have to say it. The Pats are as good as advertised over the last 13, 14 years. They came out, they started the game. I believe the Chiefs touched the ball 3 plays in the first quarter. The Patriots had their very first drive was 8 minutes long, 9 minutes long. They turn around, they scored a touchdown. They hold the Chiefs to a 3 plays and out, and then they have another 4 or 5 minute drive, which is exactly how you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and that showed it. That showed that we should never root against Tom Brady in January, as long as he is a New England Patriot. I don't know what it is about him, but he has some fire in his eyes. He's swallowing something good. I don't know. But the Patriots are as advertised. They are a very, very good team. We've been saying it all year. Have the Patriots hit the cliff? Are they on their downfall? I've been voting against the Patriots all season, and they went into Arrowhead. They beat my Kansas City Chiefs, and they definitely deserve that win, I think.
I'm going to go on the other side of that because I think the total opposite. I think that the Patriots are who people said they were all year. The Patriots are who I said they were all year. Yeah, we know where they are in January. You can't doubt that. But one thing about it, let's be clear about this, Mike. The New England Patriots of Tom Brady, I think we tend to overblow how great Brady was yesterday.
Right.
And I said this yesterday I said this earlier on Unpopular Opinion. Brady, his performance yesterday in crunch time was as great as I've ever seen anybody do. Tom Brady is the greatest clutch quarterback, clutch player I have ever watched with my 2 eyes. The stuff that this guy do in crunch time, the way he's so calm, he's never in a rush. You can never kind of get him off his spot in crunch time. You could just see it in his eyes. but we overblow what Tom Brady did yesterday. And Tom Brady did not play a good game yesterday. Tom Brady was helped out by his running game, who gave him 4 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
You know, Sony Michel had 29 carries for a rookie in the AFC Championship game. 29 carries, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Rex Burkhead, 2 more touchdowns added onto the ground. Tom Brady had 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions, and it should have been 3. And I know we could play woulda, shoulda, coulda all day long, but let's not act as if D Ford jumped off sides and Tom Brady had to rush that last throw, the one that he threw the interception on to Gronk. He just lined up off sides. So today we will be sitting here having a different discussion had Tom Brady ended the game with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, and they lost that game to the Kansas City Chiefs. So yeah, I get it. What he did in crunch time, unbelievable. But let's not overlook what Chris Hogan did. Let's not overlook what Julian Edelman did. Let's not overlook what Gronkowski did. Let's not overlook what Sony Michel did. Tom Brady had a good game. And when they needed him most, he came up big. But those receivers caught some big-time plays yesterday. And we're sitting here talking about Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. Let's not forget, Patrick Mahomes had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions yesterday. Patrick Mahomes played just about almost as good of a game as you can play against a Bill Belichick-led team in January. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did not make the mistakes that he made in the first game. Now, he got going slow, and that's been Patrick Mahomes' MO in these big games. He started out slow, but he did not make the mistakes, the fumbles, the interceptions. I think in that first meeting against the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, he had 5 turnovers. I think he threw 3 interceptions, and he had 2 fumbles. Correct. He didn't do that this time. Tom Brady, clutch and this and that. For me, I'm going to give the credit to the guys that were making the plays out there. Yeah. So that's my overall takeover from this Chiefs Patriots matchup.
And you just got me fired up about Mr. D Ford. So when you line up
fundamentals.
First things first. How do you line up a yard offside? Like, that to me that is utterly ridiculous. But then this falls on the refs again. Usually as a common courtesy, the refs say, hey, number 46, you are lined up on the, they'll give you hey, you need to scoot back.
They normally don't let you line up on. Normally they don't. It's not their job, but normally they don't.
It is not their job, but it normally is a courtesy saying, hey, you need to scoot back, you need to scoot up. They do the same thing for their wide receivers all the time.
Well, it's because the wide receivers go and ask hey, am I good? Because they lined up so far away from the ball,
right?
That's the first thing that you do when you go out there. You say, hey, I'm on the line or I'm off the line, and they'll tell you if you're on the line, they'll say, okay, back up a little bit. Yeah, all right, now you're good.
But still,
the DBs do the same thing.
But the refs still have to. It's a common courtesy to do that. And with Ford, he was lined up a good 8 or 9 yards away from the ball. He was almost on the other hash. They could have very well said, hey, D, scoot up a half a yard.
He haven't earned that credibility, Mike.
He hasn't earned that credibility.
He ain't Terrell Suggs.
Oh, come on now. Billy. Just as soon as I saw him lined up, he was ahead full shoulder length over that blue line. I'm like, what are you doing, man? My wife was sitting here. It's well, this play's over. My wife that, she watches sports, yes, but she's never played it. Obviously she knew what the hell he was doing wrong. And then to lose the game, I am going to simply put that loss on that play right there, because that pass goes through what's his face's hands,
Gronk, and it was a bad pass, and that's why it went through his hands.
It was a high bad pass, interception, and then we're like, what the hell? mean, you knew right then that your heart was like my heart was broken at that point. I'm like, there is no way we're coming back. But luckily, we as a Kansas City Chiefs did send it into overtime, and it's so heartbreaking.
And that was a big time drive for Patrick Mahomes when you think about you're 39 seconds or 35 seconds and you have to lead your team. Now, granted, he only needed a field goal, but we're talking about you're playing against Bill Belichick.
Yep.
One of the greatest to me, the greatest coach to ever coach in the National Football
League. And they had to drive 80 plus yards.
Yes.
So
your first time starting, obviously he's a first year starter. To be in this game, in that moment, and have ice water in your veins to drive the ball down the field and be able to be in a position to win that game or to tie that game, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're giving Patrick Mahomes enough credit today because we're only talking about Tom Brady. Every network we're talking, and rightly so. Listen, he's a 41-year-old quarterback that just made it to his third straight Super Bowl game. I get it, 9 total. Listen, I'll take nothing away from him. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks I ever seen. I don't know if I can put him as the GOAT, but he's one of the greatest. But Patrick Mahomes haven't got enough credit, which is the reason why, from reports, Tom Brady went to the Kansas City Chiefs locker room after the game and personally asked for Patrick Mahomes, and they went somewhere in some room and they had their conversation.
Right.
So that lets you know how Tom Brady feels about Patrick Mahomes. But Mike, you put it on D4 and you probably put it on Sutton, but this is who I put it on. I'm going to put it on Andy Reid. And let me tell you why I'm going to put it on Andy Reid.
I knew I was coming.
No, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is why I'm going to put it on Andy Reid, Mike. You had 11 seconds. Why don't you try to take 2 shots to the end zone? You got Kelvin Benjamin, who's 6'5". You got Kelsey, who's, 6'4", 6'5", maybe?
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
You got Tyreek Hill. You got Sammy Watkins. You got all these weapons, and you're telling me that you couldn't take 2 shots to the end zone? What if you kick that field goal like they did to tie the game and the Patriots run the kickoff back? What happens then? What? Because for me, you got 11 seconds. Why don't you take 2 shots to the end zone? That's no different to me than you throwing another pass with 15 seconds left, because I do believe if Patrick Mahomes take a sack with 15 seconds left, you guys don't get the field goal unit out there in time to kick that field goal.
Not at all.
It doesn't happen. So why would you go for it with 15 seconds but not go for it with 11 seconds? Giving Tom Brady and them back to ball, I just didn't agree with that. I thought you should have took a few more shots to the end zone. And this has been Andy Reid MO. You get to the big games and you lose. You had a lead against the Colts, you lose. You had a lead against the Tennessee Titans, you lose. You had a lead against the Patriots, you lose. It seems like a common theme with Andy Reid-led teams that he can just not get over the hump in big games. I'm going to put that loss on Andy Reid.
Okay, so I guess the next question is for you, did the Chiefs lose or the Patriots win?
Well, the Patriots won the game, but I'm going to put the loss on Andy Reid.
Okay.
What Brady, because you can't take away what Brady and that offense did down the stretch. It wasn't like the Saints were a bad call, impacted the game. Yes, a call did impact the game, but it was the right call. You said it yourself. You seen him lined up off sides. He head and shoulders above the football. So for me, yes, the New England Patriots did win this game because they had to drive all the way down the field in order to send that game to overtime. And then in overtime, they just marched it right down the field, man. It was third down after third down. It seemed like you got whoever number 20 is, it seemed like, dude, the slant is coming. It's coming. It is coming. It's coming right at you, and you cannot guard it. Third down, back-to-back, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Gronkowski. Yes, the New England Patriots won this game.
So I have to say everything exactly what you said. The Patriots did ultimately win this game. If they would have lost, they would have lost the game too. So with all that being said, this loss has to go on the Chiefs' defensive side of the ball. How do you have all this talent on this side of the ball and you cannot give me one third down stop? Like it just like it like
third down killed you guys.
Yeah, like
it killed you guys.
Like honestly, that first quarter when the Patriots had the ball for 8+ minutes, that very first drive, it was third down after third down after third down. Freaking Tony Romo was calling every play. It's like, oh, they are going to run a draw to the right. Sure as shit, 6-yard draw, unfreaking touched. Like Bob Sutton has to go. They should have fired him that night.
He's going to be gone in the offseason.
The minute Bob Sutton got back into the locker room, before Andy Reid could have even started his his speech, they should have gave him his pink slip, escorted him out to his car, and just let the fans have him, because he has been horrible all freaking year. Like when you consistently give up 30+ points every week in and week out, and a commentator that played quarterback that can tell you on the defensive side of the ball what play is coming back to back to back to back, hire that man as a defensive coordinator. Good Lord. I mean,
quarterbacks would probably make the best defensive coordinator when you think about all the knowledge that they have. And I've been saying this about Tony Romo football, man. I've been saying this ever since he started doing the color commentator, that this guy calls out every play. This ain't just and people took notice yesterday because it was such a big game, right? But if you listen to Tony Romo, he does this all the time. Oh, they playing cover 2, ball should go in the middle. What happens? The ball go right in the middle. He does this all the time.
If you are a young player, like a junior high schooler or a high schooler, maybe even a college player, if you just sit down and watch games that Tony Romo talks at, you will learn so much. Like it is basically watching film with a professional athlete. So with all that being said, Tony Romo is probably the best commentator out there as of right now.
He's one of my favorites.
Since John Gruden is no longer in the box.
But he's been one of my favorites, you know. Even on the field, Tony Romo was one of my favorites when he was playing. I've always said Tony Romo was a top 10 quarterback. All you got to do is just go look at the stats. All you got to do is just go look at the stats. I mean, the only difference is this guy would just make bad mistakes in the most inopportune times. But if you look at Tony Romo's body of work, Tony Romo, when he was playing, was at least a top 10 quarterback, and I would have probably slid him up around that 6-7 range, honestly, if it was me. But to your Bob Sutton point, it was 94 total plays to 47 total plays. You know what that tells me? That means you can't get off the field.
It's third downs. It was horrible.
Third down efficiency, Patriots 13 of 19 on third downs. 19 third downs. So that means you did perfect first and second down. You were absolutely amazing until you got to third down and you couldn't get off the field. And when that happens, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose. And get this, Mike, the Patriots only had one more possession than the Kansas City Chiefs. They only had one more possession. The Patriots had 12 total drives. The Kansas City Chiefs had 11. And you got out first downs 36-18, passing first downs, which were where they was killing you guys at, Mike. I don't know how many times a guy got to run a slant on third down in order for you to take away the slant. Run the out route. Run a go route. Do anything, but you will not run this slant.
I think they ran 17 slants, so apparently we needed 19 of them to be able to stop one.
That's Brady's favorite play, man.
Yeah.
That's his favorite play. You know it. And guess what he did when he didn't want to go to Edelman that last time? He went to Gronk on the slant. It's not rocket science, man. It's what he does. Like, and I don't get it. Let me pose this question to you, though, Mike. Do you think that the NFL should change the overtime rules and allow both teams to get the football?
I was actually going to ask you that same thing, Billy. Great minds think alike.
Great minds think alike, exactly,
So we kind of alluded to this back when there was a bunch of ties in like week 2 or week 3, like when we had those like those 3 or 4 ties. I think the NFL should adopt the college football overtime rules. So meaning each team has a possession and like until one team wins. How exciting would it be to like have the Patriots on the 25, Tom Brady, scores his slants, and then Patrick, he comes back and he does the same. He does
scores
the
on
same
his
thing.
slants.
Just think about this. Patrick, he could have had 7 touchdowns like him in that game, because let's be honest, the Patriots offense was probably not going to be stopped, and it was going to come down to a 2-point conversion. And I like the trickery that the Chiefs could run on a 2-point conversion. You could have had 2 very exciting overtime games. I mean, yes, they were already exciting as is, but you have 2 great teams getting a chance to touch a ball in a crunch time, a legacy of Patrick Mahomes could have been made there. There are rumors of him signing a $200 million deal in the next few weeks here, and just think about that. You give a $200 million man, a touch in overtime. He comes back in, he ties it up, and then him and Tom Brady start going blow for blow, back and forth. That is must see TV.
Yeah, I'm with you. I said this earlier too. I just for both teams, and me and OG, we actually had a difference of opinion on this, and I don't really understand how anybody can have a difference of opinion if they agree that if you kick a field goal, the other team deserves a chance to get a rebuttal on that and score or do whatever they're gonna do.
So what's the difference from that and a touchdown?
That's my
sense.
point.
Yeah.
And that was my point that I made. There's no difference, especially if we're going to preach player safety. If we're going to preach player safety, then the field goal should end the game, period, point blank, and we don't have to even deal with it.
Yep.
But since you want to give the other team another possession, if the first team only kicks a field goal, I don't really understand why you wouldn't give them that same opportunity if they scored a touchdown. Every other sports league, no matter what it is, Mike, it doesn't matter what it is. We're talking about MLB. Both teams get a chance. Both teams get a chance. Major League Soccer, don't both teams get penalty kicks? I'm pretty sure they do.
Yep.
And in basketball, don't both teams get a chance to score against each other?
Unless you're a high school in Florida that holds the ball for 47 minutes in a game.
Every in tennis, every other hockey, every other overtime, both teams get a chance to score. The only league that does not require both teams to get the ball is in the NFL, because if you go down and score, now the other team don't get to score. I don't understand that logic. I just do not understand that logic, especially when you can say, oh, but if this team kick a field goal, you get a chance to go win, as if points, don't matter. Kicking a field goal doesn't even matter. So for me,
thanks for your effort. Yeah, I mean,
thanks for your effort. It is what it is.
Yeah,
we're going to give the other team the ball anyways. So for me, I think both teams should be able to get the ball, especially when you're not giving the other team really a fair chance anyways, because you're flipping a coin. Yep. That's by chance. It's by chance. It's not like basketball where you get a jump ball, you see who get the ball first, whatever. Both teams deserve to get a chance to win the ball. Now, you're not going to hear me cry river for it. I'm just saying I would like to see this rule be changed in the future, at least in the playoffs, to allow teams to be able to score themselves. And if they don't, then we can call it a game. It is what it is. Yeah. But to just say one team, if you go down and score, that's it. But if you kick a field goal, the other team get a chance to do it. That don't make any sense. It just none at all to me.
So this is kind of how I'm seeing how the NFL overtime games work. You are in a NBA game. You have a tip ball. Say it is Golden State versus Houston. Houston, they get the tip and they shoot a 3 and the game's over. That's basically how it is.
That's basically the overtime rules. If you shoot a 2, you get to play on.
Right.
But if you shoot this 3, it's over with.
Right.
That's so it's crazy. And yeah, to your point, we did mention this earlier in the year. I would love to see both teams get the ball. Who wouldn't want to see Patrick Mahomes last night
Right.
get a chance to go score?
Even if the shoe was on the other foot and Patrick Mahomes he drove down the ball, you still want to see Tom
I want to see Brady see what he can do.
Yeah, exactly. So
because that's what Brady does. So I want to see could he do it. And the fact that we really get robbed of that, for the NFL's agenda, because that's all it is. Because it really honestly doesn't make any sense to me. And when they made this rule, it didn't make sense to me. I said this then. Why does it matter whether I score a touchdown or a field goal? If you're going to call the game, just let me win on the first point. But why implement a rule saying that if I kick a field goal, we still have to play on? But if I score, it's over with. That don't make any sense. And the NFL, they're always, reactionary on this stuff instead of proactive on this stuff. And this is another one of those cases where they're going to be reactive in every single scenario, even going back to the Saints and the Rams. They're going to go back. Mike, how much you want to bet, Mike? Because this will not go away. People will be talking about this all summer, about that Saints-Rams call. How much you're willing to bet that in the offseason they're going to make a rule change that in the final 2 minutes or something like that, on not just touchdowns or whatever, fumbles and all that other stuff can be reversed, that penalties and all this other stuff can be looked at in the final 2 minutes?
Yeah, well, see, like, I see what you're, yes, I think, but you have to have the human element in there because you don't see this in basketball. You don't see this in hockey.
Well, you do see it in basketball. In the final 2 minutes,
they don't call
everything.
Everything
is reviewable in the final 2 minutes.
Everything is reviewable, but they cannot issue a foul or take a foul away.
Correct. You are correct about that.
So at some point you you have to say, when does the human factor just take over? Because the only way we will ever get away from this talk is if you review every play.
The final 2 minutes.
No.
Just the final 2 minutes.
Why does the final two minutes matter if the first 13 minutes don't?
Because normally after the final 2 minutes, especially in football and basketball, you have a lot of chances, obviously, because there's a 30-second shot clock or 40 or whatever, 24-second shot clock. So you normally would have a chance to get the ball back if a mistake does happen. Like the Rockets did a few weeks ago when they were playing the Warriors, when Kevin Durant clearly stepped 19 times out of bounds.
Right.
The call was missed. The call was missed, but what happened? The Rockets had another chance to come back and win the game. Normally in football, you don't get a chance to come back and win the game after a call like that is missed. So in the final 2 minutes is winning time. And when you make a mistake like that, you should be able, when we're talking about winning and losing, directly impacting the game, I think most people can attest to that call cost the New Orleans Saints a shot at the Super Bowl.
It did cost him a shot, but
you should be able to review that.
Okay, so let's say that exact play happens 3 minutes and 47 seconds left in the game. They turn the ball over, and then the Rams milk the clock down. Wouldn't we still be talking about the same thing?
I mean, I still think that it should have been reversed, but we're talking about at that point, Mike. At that point, the Saints could have ran the ball out. See, there's a possibility that with 3 minutes left, you can't run all the time out because you still have the 2 minute warning and all that other stuff.
It is a possibility.
There was no possibility that unless the Saints missed the kick, there was no possibility of if that call was made, no possibility the Rams win that game. It just the time could have been ran out at that point.
It could have, but
there was no more time.
Well, but Billy, you and I have been playing football, been watching football long enough. One score, one field goal, one play can change the outcome of the whole game. if that play happened even in the third quarter with 10 minutes left, in the game, and then the Rams go up 14 points,
it wouldn't be as egregious.
How? Because
it wouldn't be because there's so much time. That's like
down
a
by
missed call
7.
That's like a missed call in the first quarter. Nobody complains about a missed call in the first quarter. Nobody does.
But
nobody complains about it.
But it is just as big as the plays in the final minute.
I disagree. I disagree because if it was just important, we wouldn't emphasize crunch time, clutch gene, and all that other stuff. You're not clutching the first quarter. Nobody's clutching the first quarter. Clutch is when the time is running out, when it's for all the marbles. It's more important in winning time. And with 1 minute and 45 seconds left, had that call been made, we're talking about Drew Brees, Tom Brady going at it in the Super Bowl. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about how smart Sean McVay is. And now everybody that's on his staff is probably finna get a job now because of how much of a genius he is. We're talking about Drew Brees and Tom Brady in the Super Bowl had they just made one of those calls. One of them. Helmet to helmet, pass interference, something.
I'm just saying, like, I hate people that emphasize the final minute of the game or the final 2 minutes. Like, people say, oh, in the NCAA basketball, they like the refs need to swallow their whistle.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
So
I don't agree with that.
But
if it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's a foul in the first quarter, it's a foul in the second quarter.
Exactly. So if it is a big penalty in the final minute, it's a big penalty within the final 12
well, yeah, it's going to be big, but I'm saying a penalty in the first quarter don't necessarily directly correlates to winning and losing because there's so much more time in the game that other things could happen. In this particular instance, Mike, the Rams would have been going home. They were going home, Mike. Like, they were going home.
Okay, so
there was no coming back. They were going home. So there were no more time on the clock.
Let me ask you this.
It was it. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. So let's say we can review that call in the final two minutes of the game. Can we review all the holding calls that are happening that are being missed, like on the?
Well, you can call holding, but you can call holding on every play, every single play.
Exactly.
So the game would be unplayable. The game would be unplayable.
Exactly.
At that time.
So how do you pick and choose what?
Because Mike, that was blatant. That was a blatant missed call, Mike. You cannot hit a receiver while the ball is in the air.
Okay. Yes, I definitely see what you're saying, but
that was clear.
But are you saying that we cannot? So we can review that, but we cannot review the lineman that is blatantly holding a defensive end.
Mike, we would call holding every play. There's no good block in the NFL. Let's be honest here.
Right.
There's no good block in the NFL. Every offensive lineman hold on every single play. Every single play. So if that's the case, we'll just be going backwards every single time.
Exactly.
But Mike, that's totally different.
Where do you draw the line?
That is totally different, Mike, from a pass interference. And you know this, Mike.
Yeah.
You know what? I put it this way. What happens if that's Tyreek Hill getting hit like that? What would you be saying here? Would you come on here and say, well, that's not the reason why we lost? Or would you be saying, we were supposed to be going to the Super Bowl? And I have no dog in this fight. No dog in this fight.
Yes. As a fan, I would be up in arms saying, yes, what the hell? Yeah, yes. But
because that directly impacted. Because you're not that mad if a pass interference call is missed, say, in the second quarter. You're like, how could you miss that? You're like, how could you miss that? But you ain't, Mike. Okay, everybody is up in arms about this today. People are actually calling for Roger Goodell to actually reverse the game.
That won't happen. But
no. It won't happen. But he has the power to do it.
Well, but
according to the rules.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What if a linebacker comes on a blitz and then the center blatantly grabs him by the shoulder pads and throws him down, and this and that could have been the game-ending sack. Can you?
In the final 2 minutes, yes, I agree. You should be able to look
review
at that.
Well, but
I'm talking about blatant holds, Mike.
Right,
Blatant holds, blatant pass interference. All holding ain't blatant. Yeah, it's subtle because you're play fighting with a guy close up to you.
So let's just say that linebacker is blitzing untouched. He is held through to the ground, but the quarterback is like Cam, and like Cam can take that hit from the linebacker and spin off and like run for 15 yards. Like
I think it should be.
Where do you draw the line? Because you have to have a human element in the game. Because if you take that,
I get the human element.
Right.
I get the human element, though. I get that.
Okay, so let's say that the refs call that holding call, but that linebacker could have very well missed that sack. That changes the whole game, right?
Yeah.
Then you are putting the hands in the refs one way or the other. Which way would you rather have it? Would you rather have it live and they flat out just missed the call, or you go to the
replay. Okay. Go to the replay. Go to the replay.
Okay.
To get it right, Mike, because that's why you have the replay system. So you can get it right.
The replay system's flawed. The replay system's flawed.
No. Whether it's flawed or not, that's not what we're debating here. What you asked was which one would you rather have? And if that's the case, give me the tape where I can see what happened rather than I have to go off your eyes on what happened. And in that case, just like there's probably pass interference on every single play. There's bumping and hand fight, Mike.
Right,
but
there is.
It ain't as blatant as that was, Mike. Come on now. That holding is totally different. These guys are holding each other all game long. The concept of blocking is let me run into you and let me hold you by your shoulder pads and hope that I don't grab your jersey and I just got a hold of your shoulder pads. That happens all the time.
Right.
You can't review that stuff. Just like I wouldn't want pass interference review every play. But Mike, let's not let that play yesterday. That everybody's seen that, Mike. Everybody's seen that. Everybody's seen the hit at least 1 to 2 seconds before the ball even got there. You should be able to review that, especially Mike. Especially, I tell you what. In the NBA, when the referees don't know something and they go huddle up, what do?
Look at the replay on the big screen.
They go look at the replay. So if they went to huddle up, which means to tell me you didn't know what you saw. That's what that tells me. You don't know what you saw. So now I got to go bring somebody else into the fold of this. Once that happened, Mike, you should be able to go look at the replay. You should be able to go to look at the replay. And in those instances, and on calls that's that big in the game, you have to get that right. Because now Sean Payton don't get to go to his second Super Bowl. Drew Brees don't get to go to his second Super Bowl. And now we got Sean McVay, who I don't think deserves to go to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff and none of those guys, based on what I saw. And we're talking about guys' legacies being impacted here. Guys' legacies are on the line here. And we can't get the call right. You should have been able to see that live, that was a pass interference. They can see all the other pass interference that don't even happen. But you're telling me you can't see that one.
True.
It just doesn't make any sense. Big plays like that, I think you should be able for it to be reviewed. And winning time in the game, that's why they have the final 2-minute report. That's why they have all of this stuff in the final 2 minutes. You don't have to challenge a play. It gets automatically replayed by the booth. That's why they have this stuff. So if it's there, use it. That's what. Who cares about slowing the game down? Because I don't. Get the call right.
Well, definitely
tell Sean Payton that they were going to slow the game down just to get the call right. You think he would have cared? No, he wouldn't have. That's a terrible missed call by the NFL, and they should be ashamed of themselves, honestly.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. Billy Hatten up in arms. But, guys, as always, thank you for joining us. Be sure to like us on YouTube. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. Before we leave here, I want to throw a little political thing in here. It is kind of funny that the only people that have supported Donald Trump are the 2 NFL owners that are going to the Super Bowl. Just saying. Is it a conspiracy? Who knows? That is a story for Just for Clicks, guys. Be sure to tune into that. But Billy, any closing thoughts?
Go Nose.
Go Nose, as always, man.
Dog Pound. Cardiac Kids.
All right. Super Bowl champs then next year, Hatten?
Yes, Cardiac Kids will be. Now, I won't say Super Bowl champs, but I think we'll make a push for the playoffs. I think we'll be fine.
AFC Championship? Them and the Chiefs?
I don't know if they're quite ready for that yet. I'm trying to be realistic here with my fandom. I see a lot of these fans and these pages that I'm in. They're talking about Super Bowl aspirations and all this other stuff. I don't know if we quite there yet. I mean, we only won 7 games this year. Granted, we could have won 8 or 9 or 10, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Oh, speaking of fans, Billy, you got me fired up again, man. Where did all these Kansas City Chiefs fans come from? Me like seriously, this is just like when the Royals went the back-to-back World Series back in 2014, 2015. Stop bandwagon hopping teams, guys. Just stick with the team and stick with it. Don't be like Matthew Lyle and like buy this next big product or like
shots fired.
It's like, just stop it. You are not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. You haven't been through all the hard times. Like, I haven't seen a playoff win since 1995. Come on now. Like, give me a break. Jesus. And then like now you guys all hate the Kansas City Chiefs because you lost to the Patriots. Like, who are you guys? Oh, you're Rams fans now. That's who you are. That's ridiculous. Get out of here. Kansas City for life. I'm out.